Alright, so we're back over at Tim's working on the race machine a little bit, and look who's back in town, Mr. Kevin Gladman. So we got a template made for our roll cage, but that's not what we're going to be talking about. What we're going to be talking about is 2-to-1 steering quickening. So this stuff came in the mail a few days ago, and we got the steering wheel, the quick disconnect hub, and the 2-to-1 quickener. And as you can see, not very cheap, $785 for all this stuff. So we're going to mount all this on mine, and then later on we're going to swing over to Kevin's place because Kevin has chosen a different route. So basically I bought the Hess stuff for $785, and it's basically just bolt on, which we're going to show you how that goes on here in a second. And Kevin said screw that, he wasn't doing it, so he did it himself. And he has the paddle shift model, so he's got a bunch of crazy stuff going on with homemade brackets and different steering quickener and all that. So for now we're just going to mount mine. And
you're more of a man than I am. I wasn't going to pony up for that kind of money for that Hess quickener.
Yeah, so two different avenues to go down, so we're gonna check out both.
Using this impact, see how many of these bolts, like these Allen screws, I can round off for you. Plus we ain't got all day.
After the tack comes off, there's a couple bolts here, a couple bolts here, and then supposedly this little unit is not that easy to get off, so we'll see how easy this one was. The steering wheel was already off, and I've heard some horror stories and seen some videos of people with torches and everything else trying to get the steering wheel off, but luckily for me on this one, it just popped right off. We run the nut out to the end, put a piece of wood on there and a hammer, and had somebody else put some pressure on the wheel, and we gave it a couple whacks and it came right off. So hopefully this the steering unit comes off the same.
And on the sport shift models, you'll see whenever you go to my place, this isn't flat like all through here. So it was a real pain in the ass to get this off because this was broke at a 90 tight against it. So you had nowhere to, you know, move it around to get it out of there. I almost had to pull the whole unit out and take it over the vise and beat the crap out of it. But fortunately I didn't have to do that. I just had to get a little Western with it with a set of pry bars.
We'll see how easily this one comes off.
It'll probably just fall off, to be my luck. Oh, yeah.
So Kevin decided that it'd just be a lot easier to just take this unit out and put it on the bench in the vise to try and separate these two pieces.
Because I fought mine while it was in the car. It's not fun.
So Kevin's is already done, but we're gonna go up, and he already did his a while ago, and I just got my stuff to do mine because I wanted to get some of the interior done before we started going in with the cage and doing all that stuff for the race machine. I wanted to get the interior stuff done, so just got that out of the way. Kevin's was already done, he did his a while ago, but we're just gonna check it out when we get up there because I think especially if you have the paddle shift model, you're definitely going to be interested in how he did his. What do you think you have in your setup, Kevin? Total, I mean cost.
Well, that's the thing. I've got some pieces for free, and I had a lot of steel laying around from the couple of utility trailers that I redid. So I use a lot of that steel. You're going to need quick steering wheel quick connect, you know, for a quick coupler. Like you'd have like on a dirt car or whatever, or even on one of these, like what you've got going on with this Hess steel.
Well, let me check
several U-joints. Knowing what I know now, I probably would have did it a little different route and not used as many steering U-joints. But
we can talk about what you would have done differently on yours too, whenever we check it out. So basically, we're going to show you basically the easy route, which is more expensive, and then the little harder route, which is more do-it-yourself on Kevin's. And he mentioned the steering Quickener, or the coupler, which was, let's see, $80. So $80 for the steering wheel, $80 for the quick disconnect. So that's pretty average price. I mean, for even if you bought one off a dirt car, you're still going to have about that in it, don't you think? 80
Honestly,
bucks.
I think you can get it for like the spline and all that, and the Quickener.
Right. You get a
Maybe
splined one.
probably. I don't know. It depends. I haven't really looked one up.
Probably if you got depends on what you got. If you got All-Star Performance, or you got Sweet Manufacturing, will be a little bit more expensive.
Definitely stay away from AFCO or All-Star U-joint, steering U-joints. Always run Sweet or something, or Coker or whoever.
Yeah.
So essentially, with this thing, this is just an intermediate shaft in here. Like, this thing's got a female set of splines on the back side of this. It's spline over top of the motor. And that's a pretty damn tight fit. What I did on mine was I started hammering away on this and got it to where I could get pry bar or screwdriver in there and just kind of walked it off there. But what I'm gonna do is we're gonna chuck this up in the vise, take that snap ring out, and hammer on this guy while it's holding, supporting its weight, and it should fall out of there. There's two snap rings in here. There's one that holds the bearing, and then there's also one that holds the shaft in place. So when you're driving the hell out of it, the shaft doesn't float away, like the whole wheel and everything won't move. But this thing is, as you can tell, I'm squeezing this thing and it's just bound up in the land. There it is. So
it's loose in there.
Just a couple light slams. Worked way easier than whatever I did mine. Now, this is what I was talking about. Remember this piece, because this is what I used on mine to make it work. Because you need this piece to be able to connect back to your motor. So, if you go the way I did. Now, the fun part is getting this off of that. So, we had to pause it and had to use another set of hands. But essentially, this thing is pounded all the way on here, and it's almost like an interference fit clear back here. So you use that big block of wood and a linear hitting device. I'm pulling / catching. He's pitching the hammer, and it pops off there. So don't be afraid of it. Just don't want to, beat the hell out of this, because your Hess Quickener has to go over top of that.
So it wasn't super tight, but
it just
take a little whacking to.
But yeah.
It did take a little whacking to get it off. So.
Oh, and by the way, I have a pretty good friend of mine that has a side-by-side business. He works on them, puts cages, spare tire racks, all that crap. Take a little shout out to 704 Off-Road, Josh Coe. Look him up on Instagram, Facebook. You can order just about anything. He's about one of the few PRP seat dealers, and he can get just about anything you need for your machine. If not, he can build it.
Where are they located at?
He's located down in Cornelius, North Carolina, but he does ship. Whenever I was helping him out a couple times, we had cars coming in from out of state. Guys, just full cage, graphics, vinyl. We had one completely decaled. You just have to look him up. 704 Off-Road. He's got all this stuff on there. But yeah, he's going to be one that's going to help us out a lot on parts and pieces and stuff like that. So definitely give him a look up. Careful with the old anti-sleeves. Put it where you want it. Be liberal with it. If you get it on you, this shit will follow you home.
No doubt.
So that'll help you if you ever have to pull a car apart or whatever.
So if anyone was listening to Kevin earlier when he explained how and why to put Never-Sees on a particular way, so you don't have it all over everything, this is what the Quickener looks like right now. Well, I'm glad we got that lesson from him earlier.
Just showing you what not to do. Tested it all and then put the Love Me juice on there. Because like I said, this stuff will follow you home.
I like that rag. It's a nice festive rag you have there.
It's just for the holidays, man.
Nice.
Let's give Santa a little silver beard here.
It is just a couple of days before Christmas.
Yeah. All right. Now, what I will say is, like I was telling Haas, like all my hardware, even when we go there to look at it, it's drilled for safety wire. It's not all safety wire because I had it apart recently, but we put all this hardware back together. Make sure you always use like Loctite, because a little bit of this stuff will go a long way and keep you from all of a sudden having the steering wheel in your lap by accident. You know, you don't want that.
That can happen.
Because then, you know, we'll be testing out the cage. We don't want to test out the cage.
Not for that reason anyways.
No. Click. Wheel seems like it's gonna be a little high, but I think you said you like that.
I think it's up right now. I think the shock's up. I can bring it down. I mean, I like the steering wheel to be a little bit high, but
Kind of nice that the gauges are back in the same spot.
right.
I just wonder how much harder it's going to be to turn compared to mine. Well, I mean, technically the 2-to-1, it should be the same.
Right.
My Quickener is the same way. It's ahead of the motor, but what size wheel did you end up getting?
14.
Yeah, I ended up, well, with my scrawny ass, I had to build a 16-inch wheel.
So you get the housing bolted on, put the tack back on, reverse lever. Put this on.
It's a pretty nice unit. I'm not gonna lie, they did a pretty good job with that. So I'm assuming that with the taper on there, that would be for like if you stuck your stock wheel back on it, because it's got a taper in it and the spline. So
Yeah. So that piece there is probably, well, the piece that the steering wheel slides on and off of just kind of probably has the same fit as your stock steering wheel.
right.
Because actually you can buy like a Dragonfire setup, and without the Quickener, you can just buy the release here,
Oh,
and it's the
okay.
same way. So the shaft that was coming out of your stock setup,
You
it
can
just
put that right on
yeah,
there.
it just slides right on there and kind of bolts on. It's like, so you don't have to do no welding to get a quick disconnect
Right.
steering wheel.
Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna yeah, that's about all it's good for right now, ain't it? Current condition. We're gonna take and
You're gonna bolt the
wheel,
steering
a couple
wheel on
bolts on the
first.
steering wheel on this Quickener, so that way you're not taking the thing on and off, and because you could have that thing one way or the other, and I don't know if his wheel's straight or not. So
They're pretty close.
yeah, I guess it's a little right.
Yeah, you want to get the wheel somewhat close to straight. That way, whenever you put the when you seat the hub on there for your quick disconnect, because the steering wheel has a center point line in the top of it from that wheel.
Yeah, it's got a reference mark.
Got a reference mark on the top, and there's only so many ways it'll go on. It's not like the Sweet. It's not like the Sweet manufacturing that has 36 splines on it. You can pretty much clock them anyhow you want. This one, they're a little bit farther apart, you know. They got to rotate pretty good, so you want to have it somewhat close. Just got to run that down and seat that hub on there, even though, was the inside of this was splined, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's splined. But
That's why we
just
needed
gotta
to put
be-
the old, put the steering wheel on the quick connect, so that way we knew where we were at.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that down and on it. Then we'll put some thread locker on there. Nice if we had some red, but blue would be a little easier to deal with if you have to pull it back off. Blind hole. Put it down on there, maybe just a little bit for insurance on the bolt, but because as you thread one down, air pressure in the hole pushes it back up through the threads. should let you tighten this one up. Oh, that's ratchet.
Wow, that steering wheel's way back there compared to stock. There you go. Snapped on there now.
Damn, that's a little off. Gives you a rough idea.
Yeah. It's on there pretty close. We don't know where exactly where straight is yet, so we'll be able to take care of that. Wheel's just kind of roughly bolted on there. You can tell from the side.
Things in your lap.
It's
too close.
Yeah, it might be too close. Which I bought the disc steering wheel that I can, and Hess makes a flat wheel, so it pretty much wouldn't have any of this offset from here to there. That's a lot bigger than what I thought it was going to be actually. So still have the option to do that, but I'm going to we'll tighten that, put the cap on there. Kevin's got the cap. We'll tighten it all the way down, and I'll get in there and we'll check it out and see what it's like. If anything, we can just send the wheel back and have them send a flat wheel.
Yep.
But we'll get a measurement too of what that actually is, and because it's not on Hess's website, how much difference that is, like from here to here of the stock one. I looked for that whenever I was ordering, but it doesn't tell you. So
that's about a 3-inch dish on the steering wheel.
yes, 3-inch dish on the steering wheel, and then that housing's about, let's call it 5.5 inches.
Roughly, yeah.
5.5 inches. Where's that stock one at?
Probably gained 2.5, maybe somewhere there. Plus with that wheel, you're probably 5 inches closer to you than what you were.
Yeah, so keep that in mind, because like I said, it might be on Hess's website, but I couldn't find it. I looked on there. It doesn't really tell you how much farther back, because I was really on the fence about, whether I was going to get the dish steering wheel or the flat. So I went with the dish and figured I could send it back if it wasn't what I wanted, but you can tell it's back there quite a ways. So we'll have to see. I like my steering wheels close anyhow, but that might be a little too close. We'll try it out if we get it totally buttoned.
Now they're going in. That's good.
There you go.
It's a good sign. So we're just gonna snug these up. We're not gonna put Loctite on them or anything. So hopefully Haas remembers to do that. Just that way he can sit in there and know what he's got with this wheel. Because like he said, he might have to go to the flat wheel.
Flat wheel.
Looks sharp.
Yeah, it looks nice. It is nice stuff.
For sure. It ain't like you're getting a bunch of junk. It's just, there's the little things that you gotta tweak here and there.
Yeah.
And some of it's just design stuff from Yamaha, and Hess is just stuck with what they got, basically. So always give that a tug back before you're done.
That's her. Try it. See what you think. Then I'll try it.
Handful of tools out of the way. Which, by the way, speaking of which, we didn't really go through the tools you need. Basic Allen metric socket set, 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, and 14 for the steering wheel, like the hub nut or hub bolt. And then either Allen's or that'll get it done, and some blue Loctite.
So overall, it's pretty easy install.
Basic stuff that you can get anywhere.
It's basically slide on and off, and other than the press fit stuff, it's tapered fit stuff. It's pretty easy install. Not much to it really.
This thing once we have to crawl through the window
Right.
instead of coming through the door. I don't know, dude. You might like it. The only thing, I
Elbows.
don't know where the door is going to be, and then of course, this bucket's wide, like too wide for me, but
Right.
I don't know. I think the straight's what you're going to want. I feel like.
All right, well, that's pretty much the conclusion. It's on. Pretty easy unit to install. Kevin made pretty quick work of it. So
For never doing one.
yeah.
It took a lot less time to do that than
So
what
it's
I did.
yeah. So basically bolt on stuff. Maybe some stuff here a little hard to get off, little, you know, whatever. But for the most part, it's pretty plug and play. So now that we've done the bolt on Hess unit, we're gonna roll out of here and head up to Kevin's place, and we're gonna dive into what Kevin did to his. So sign out.